Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Commodity TV for the first time here in Frankfurt at a Cannabis conference of Mike Davis. And with me here is Bernie Hertel, the Vice President, Finance and Communications of Emerald Health Therapeutics. Welcome and good morning, Bernie.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Yeah, as always, it's also for me, it's honestly my first time to interview a cannabis company, but I really like the business because what I love with the business is it's not recyclable. But you are on the health side of the health science side, I would call it. Maybe you can give us a short overview on your company.
So Emerald Health Therapeutics is a licensed producer in Canada, which means that it has the ability to grow cannabis. Much of the focus of this legalization that has occurred last week on October 17th for recreational use is to help take the illegal industry and make it legal. Different companies are obviously focusing on different parts of the industry. Our company has a very extensive group of people who are from the world of life sciences. So we have people from the pharmaceutical industry, the biotechnology industry, conventional medical doctors, naturopathic doctors, people from the natural health product sector. And so we look at this opportunity, at this industry through a life sciences lens, let's say. And our goal is to be able to create value-added products that are beyond just the dried flower that is for smoking and even beyond oils, but more products that will have more defined doses, more consistent, predictable doses to help people that really want to pursue the medicinal and wellness benefits of cannabis.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, life science side on the, let's call it healthcare industry side.
Yes.
Can you explain us a little bit your business? Because you are, of course, you are growing the cannabis, and then you are treating and producing your products. So maybe can you give us an idea how it works from the first step to grow the flower, or let's say the plant, and then how you come onto your products?
Sure. So we're based in Vancouver. Emerald did something quite unique initially, which was we were one of the first companies to look at the opportunity to use greenhouses for growing cannabis rather than indoor facilities. And we established a joint venture with one of the largest greenhouse growers of vegetables in North America.
Of vegetables? That's a nice swing. Interesting.
Well, it's interesting. On one hand, a plant is a plant is a plant.
Absolutely.
They're living things, and they require a lot of knowledge about the nuances of plants. Now, on the other hand, of course, every plant is distinct. So our company has extensive expertise and experience in growing cannabis, but of course in smaller amounts. They have very large-scale growing capabilities. So this particular joint venture has in it a 1.1 million square foot greenhouse, which is about 100,000 square meters, about 19 Fußballfelder.
Yes, 19 football fields. I love that.
And it's amazing how big it is. So we are growing plants now. We have a place where we have mother plants. We take clippings. We put them into a growing medium. We nurture them, and then we put them into big rooms. There's 17 rooms in this facility. Today, half of that facility is licensed. So we have our sales license for the whole facility. For cultivation, we have half of it licensed, and we continue to retrofit this facility in order to be most ideally positioned for growing cannabis. So when we first did this deal, it wasn't about securing metal and glass. I mean, it gave us a faster time frame and took that part of the process out of it. But the real goal was to combine our expertise with our partners' expertise and their extensive time that they've spent in growing plants. And they have extensive data collection, extensive electronic controls for controlling the humidity and the temperature and all the lighting and so on. And so that was why we did that deal. And we're now growing, we're now planting and ramping up our production significantly.
Is it planting in a solution, or is it organic, like in real soil?
It's not in real soil. It's in a medium that involves certain plant materials as well that are thought to be ideal for cannabis. And then we have where they're growing on certain types of racks, and the nutrients are provided through tubes and so on. So it's all fairly efficient.
Okay, then this is quite clear now and quite obvious how you, let's say, get the base resource metal, I would, or material, I would call it. So now, what are your plans and what are your products already?
Right. So today, and that, by the way, that facility is going to conservatively grow over 75,000 kilograms a year. That's the goal. And so in that 50-50 joint venture, we'll have access to some of that product and also the profit from that business. And then we also have an indoor facility in the province of Quebec, which is 75,000 square feet, or roughly about 7,500 square meters. And that we think may grow over 10,000 kilograms. So today, up until recently, under the medical system, we've been selling product, but with a very small operation, we've had very low sales. We've had dry flower for people to consume, and we've had oils for people to consume. And where we're going is towards products that will offer more controlled doses and consistent, predictable doses. And we've established another major partnership with another leader, which is the largest natural health products company in Canada, called the Factors Group of Nutritional Companies. They're private. They don't like to share too much information, but they are big in private labeling and white labeled products.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
They also have their own brand, but they're providing us expertise as well in product innovation for the natural health products marketplace. And they're also providing us access to a facility that has 1 million kilograms of extraction capability. So 1 million kilograms of plant material that could be put through an extraction process.
Okay, wow, that's a lot.
Substantial.
Yeah.
And as well, 600 million soft gel encapsulation production capacity.
So that sounds to me like you can supply the world? A little bit?
A little bit. Well, of course, we always have to consider borders.
Yeah, of course.
And legal constraints and all those boundaries. But in the Canadian marketplace, this facility would be one of the largest facilities to provide those kind of capabilities. The greenhouse itself is one of the largest individual growing facilities, single growing facilities in the country. I'm not saying we have the largest overall production footprint, but we have a very large facility that can be very efficient in growing the base material. We have a large facility to do that value-added processing in order to then get to products that people might prefer to consume when they have the purpose of looking for wellness benefits, let's say.
Okay, perfect.
So if you're looking to have better sleep or to deal with pain, you might not want to be smoking the product.
Yeah, of course.
You might prefer to have something
capsule
like a pill,
or whatever.
a
pill.
that is more predictable.
Which is much easier also to take.
Maybe a more expected or usual form of consumption.
Yeah. Now, and also, I mean, it's also a more, let's say, serious way, because still smoking cannabis is, something in the mind of the people. Maybe let's call it illegal or something. Oh, no, that's bad to do, you know. But if you take a capsule, everybody says, oh, that's medical treatment. I like it.
And we all grew up with the idea of what cannabis is. And much of it is false. We should always be realistic about any type of material we consume and what the effects might be, in all fairness. But the idea that in the United States, for example, that cannabis should be equated to heroin and that's how it's set legally, is a little bit odd. You know, the only reason that cannabis is illegal is because of politics and power and prejudice. There was never, 100 years ago, there wasn't a big clinical study that said cannabis is going to hurt people.
Exactly.
So it's found its time now to start evolving. People have recognized through many anecdotal observations. I know that's probably a tough word in German, but anecdotal
totally agree,
observations that there's good benefit. You know, when you talk to mothers whose children have epilepsy and have hundreds of seizures a day. And then using a CBD product, they can take those seizures down to very few or none. That's pretty compelling. That goes
really
right to the heart.
Helps, absolutely.
And it's real. A very large company in the world, a large biotechnology company called GW Pharma, has done our industry and people and children a fantastic favor by running actual clinical studies for epilepsy, a specific area, a type of epilepsy called Dravet syndrome. They were approved by the FDA, and now the Drug Enforcement Agency in the U.S. has actually rescheduled it from Schedule 1, which is equivalent to heroin, down to Schedule 5, which means you still have to have a prescription. But it's fantastic to see that kind of result. And when you talk about different conditions such as pain and sleep and anxiety, and then smaller things, the opportunity to start doing more human studies and to discover the true benefits, along with understanding any safety issues, fantastic opportunity for the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as I always say, who heals is correct. Very simple,
nice point. That's a very nice, simple point.
And when it helps, it helps. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So Absolutely understood. You have a very wide, very broad future of products and of possibilities to help the people also. But let's call finally, you need to make money.
Yes.
Yeah, because nobody can live out of losses or can live out of dreams. So how do you make money? What are your margins? How can you describe it a bit more in general and maybe a bit more in detail?
So up until recently in the medical marketplace, if you went to our website, so if you had a prescription, you would come directly to our company and register with us or to another company, and then you could order by phone or online. And the products we were selling for that type of situation were in the $8 to $9 Canadian range. In the new recreational framework...
That's per gram, or was that then?
Per gram,
yep.
Yes. In the new recreational framework, we must go through each individual province. There's 10 provinces in Canada. They control sales and distribution. Different provinces will be different. Some will have government-controlled stores that may sell just cannabis or cannabis and alcohol. Some will allow licensed independent stores, and some will allow online sales, and some mix. So we have to sell to them, so we won't be getting that same price. Initially, the price range might be a number of dollars less than the $8 or $9 range, let's say.
Let's call it you sell it for $5, for example, 5 or 6. For example,
yeah. So in that large,
what all-in costs you have then?
In that large greenhouse, we expect that we can produce for less than $1 a gram, potentially far less.
That's a beautiful margin.
And then you're still probably talking about packaging and other costs,
G&A, whatever.
But the margins are going to be very nice in the initial period of time. Absolutely, there's the expectation that supply is going to go up, as it has in other areas like Colorado and Washington, and the prices will eventually come down. But we're still talking about very, very good gross margins for a period of time, so, even if you end up with quite a bit lower pricing.
So we can say, like, let's say a gross margin before taxes, like 40–50% is realistic?
I would think for quite a foreseeable future that would be realistic.
Fantastic. What are your plans for 2019? How much, let's say, revenue you think you can generate? How many new products or products you want to launch?
We're not putting out guidance on sales because there's lots of variables, and some of the investment regulators don't really like us putting out guidance on with numbers that are still have a lot of assumptions.
Because the market is too new?
It's new, and the companies, none of the companies, I mean, other companies do have experience in the medical marketplace in serving a larger base of people. We've worked with a very small facility. We haven't ramped up our sales yet. So what will happen in 2019 is we will have a significant ramp up in our sales in the joint venture, which is called Pure Sun Farms, and that's private, held between the two companies. And then we will also be ramping up sales in our Quebec facility. We also did a very interesting deal just recently. We secured hemp, harvest from hemp. So the Canadian government is just changing the handling of outdoor grown hemp in Canada to allow the use of the flower and the leaf for CBD extraction. So hemp is typically very low in THC and has a more reasonable or larger amount of CBD. Can grow very, very inexpensively outdoors. So we were quietly in the background securing deals with farmers during the summer in anticipation that the Canadian government might open up this opportunity. And we secured hemp harvest for 400 hectares of land. So we didn't have to buy the land, we didn't grow it. We were involved in helping with the harvesting. Next year that's going to double to 800. So our goal was never to necessarily be farmers, no disrespect to farmers. In fact, we have very good farmers in our company. And if we're going to farm, we're going to farm well. However, we want to focus on the value-added end of the spectrum. We want to go from flower to extraction, and then oils, and then to more towards pills and other types of...
So it's really vertical integrated.
Yes, and differentiated product. We've already filed for 17 patents.
Oh, wow.
So we're very focused on innovation. And if ultimately we're in a position where, okay, we will grow some product perhaps directly, but if we can also secure product from the open market, so to speak, cost effectively with the right quality and ensuring there's no issues in terms of quality and so on, and the right pricing, that'll be very attractive. And so if the prices go down, we have a cheaper input cost. And that's good for us.
Wow, that's fantastic. Absolutely. Talking about the shareholders also, who are your major shareholders, first thing, and let's put it that way, under a base case scenario, when would you expect to be profitable then? Can you say something on that? I know it's a forward-looking statement, but
so
maybe an estimation.
The question will be how capital flows, how profit flows from the joint venture back to the shareholders. That's not necessarily fully determined yet. It'll keep capital to use for growing its business.
Of course, you need to invest in the business.
But we will be benefiting from that 50%. And then with our other operations, I mean, basically we expect these operations to essentially be at full production by the end of next year. So there'll be a lot of, at that point, it won't take till the end of the year to be fully planted. They'll be fully planted certainly by the middle of next year. And then you're going through optimization. So I think it's reasonable if we were just to have this business as we see it, we should be able to see profitability break even certainly in a quarter in 2020. I'm not saying that that's specific guidance. I wouldn't want people to think that it couldn't happen.
But as an idea, I would call it,
But fairly realistically, let's say that should be achievable.
Super.
But this is an exciting space with lots of opportunities. This is like the early days of the internet. And so there's going to be many different opportunities to invest, to take on new opportunities. We're looking at, we've been very focused on Canada. That's our home ground. We're putting the basics in place, making sure that they're strong. But our eyes are on the horizon, much like it was with hemp, let's say. We're also looking at other opportunities globally and broadly speaking, whether it's to secure supply, whether it's for new product innovations and technology, whatever the case may be. We've already done a deal with a sister company that's part of a bigger portfolio that's based in Cordoba in Spain that is completely focused on research and development. It's all very science focused. A couple individuals there, Eduardo Munoz, who's Spanish, and an advisor, Giovanni Appendino, who's Italian. They've been doing cannabinoid research for over 15 years. There's not a lot of people in the world that have done that. So we have a relationship with that company, with Emerald Health Therapeutics, to also help with innovation. So some of these opportunities may require a certain amount of capital, and in the early stages of an industry like this, you want to be able to keep pursuing those opportunities.
Absolutely, that's normal.
So that's the caveat as far as when we decide to pursue, when we decide we want to have profitability.
I'm pretty sure you keep us posted on that.
Absolutely.
Super. Brian, thank you. Bernie, thank you very much for that. And all the best. And it looks like that you have a lot of work to do for next year.
Absolutely.
And a lot of good things coming up here.
We're very excited. We very much like our focus.
Yes.
It's not the broadest focus, but it's fairly, we think it's focused on what we believe are the important growth opportunities of the marketplace.
Super, perfect. And you have the cash to do it, right?
We have all the cash we need right now for all the projects that we've talked about. Ultimately, all the companies have been raising capital because capital is a strategic asset to have to pursue all those opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, super. Thank you very much on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Bernie Hertel from Emerald Health Therapeutics, the Vice President Communication and Investor Relations. And you heard it. The company is really on a high-speed growing path, I would call. 17 patents are filed already, and I'm pretty sure they get the one or the other sooner than later. And the company is in the life science, in the health space, which is a multi-billion-dollar market worldwide. And they're not only in Canada, as they are based in Vancouver, but they are also looking to Spain, to Italy, and other large markets. And so I would say, check out the company. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye from Frankfurt.